We have reached a point of the year where a lot of teachers are struggling to balance their personal lives with their professional lives. We work in the most important field in the world. It's complex, it comes with a lot of responsibilities, and it's quite often difficult to balance your personal life with your teaching life, especially for new teachers. I see a lot of beginning teachers really struggling with this. And I want to pass along some pro tips that I've learned over the last 27 years of teaching. That's right, I've been teaching for 27 years, been married to the same woman for 33 years, have two wonderful kids who are contributing to society. I've also sponsored a couple of clubs. I sponsored um, the Wildlife Conservation Club. I've sponsored the Envirothon for our school. I've coached basketball, powder puff football, tennis, softball, and I also run a business. So it can be done. I'm definitely an example of being able to do it. And I want to share those things that will help you to balance your life and not leave teaching. There's too many good teachers who are struggling to achieve this balance. Let me help you and talk to you throughout this video about pro tips that I've learned over the last 33 years. If you were to ask me what is the accomplishment I'm most proud of, what is the most impressive thing I've achieved in my life, it would have nothing to do with teaching, nothing to do with basketball, nothing to do with any of the envirothons. It would be the fact that I've been married to the same woman for 33 years and that I've been there for my kids. I've not missed a dance recital, I've never missed a choir performance, and I've never missed a soccer game. And you can achieve all of this too. The key to all of this is to keep things in perspective, and I'll talk you through some of that in a minute. All right. Tip number one, lesson number one. You need to understand and accept that teaching is a job. It's the most important job in the world. It's the most complex job in the world. I will debate anybody on that, and I promise you I will win that debate. We're dealing with people. We're dealing with anywhere from 20 to 30 lives if you're an elementary school teacher, and sometimes hundreds of lives if you're a high school teacher. And each one of those people brings their experiences and their challenges into your classroom every day. It is complex. Now, the first 3 years of teaching, it really put stress on my marriage because I did not have balance. I viewed teaching as a way of life. I did not understand it was just a job. I truly believed that if I didn't show up the next day, everything would deteriorate, that the entire school would come undone. And I learned after a period of time that that's not true. It's a job. When I'm gone, they'll find someone to replace me. Same thing with you. Someday when you retire or leave, they will replace you. So it is a job, but it is the most important job in the world, and you are a hero if you're a teacher. So you've got to keep that in perspective because if you don't treat it as a job, a very important job, you will burn out and it will take a lot out of you. And that's one of the struggles I see with a number of beginning teachers who are commenting in the social media chat rooms and stuff is that they're struggling to find balance between treating it as a job or treating it as a lifestyle. And it can completely consume you if you let it. You have to find balance with your plus one. You've got to find a way to balance your life if you want to be in a committed relationship with somebody, whether that's marriage or whatever your relationship status is. If you want to have commitments to other people, you've got to find work-life balance. Teaching, as I mentioned, can be all-consuming. There's always another lesson plan. There's always another behavioral issue. There's always another paper to grade, a parent conference to think about, an administrator to worry about coming into your classroom, making sure you're prepared to put your best foot forward when that person comes in. There's always another PD to be working on or professional development. The list goes on and on. I can make a list that just, it's endless. Again, you've got to reframe and realize that teaching is a job. You've got to learn to compartmentalize. One of the things that I find helps, the first 3 years of teaching for me was rough because I did not separate teaching from home. I'm going to talk about that in a lot more detail on the next slide. But on this one, I'm going to tell you one of the easy fixes for you, not necessarily an easy fix, but something that will help, is to have a daily routine that you debrief. I've gotten to the point now where when I shut my classroom door, I leave everything at school and I don't bring it home. I leave it there. I don't want it in my house. I leave it at school where it belongs, and I'll pick it up when I walk in there at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. But you need some kind of activity where you debrief. One of my debriefs is when I walk out of the classroom, I will come home and I will change, and then I will go run or work out. I will do something for anywhere from half an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the activity, to clear my mind and transition from teacher to dad slash husband. So if you're having an issue with separating teaching from your personal life, put something in place. It could be yoga, it could be a walk. My wife and I frequently go on walks. As I mentioned earlier, the first 3 years of my teaching career, I wanted to be successful at it. I wanted to show everybody that I had the talent to be a teacher, and it really became consuming, and it consumed my life to where I wanted to be successful at this. I wanted to be the best teacher I could possibly be, but I lost perspective. And one day I was talking to my wife, and she told me my personality had changed. I was coming home and speaking with her and my children like if they were my students. So I was no longer separating my job from my personal life. So I'm glad she brought that to my attention, and I was able to correct that in the third year. Which brings me to a pro tip for you. Marry your best friend. You need to have somebody that you trust and can tell you when your personality's changed, because I was completely unaware of it. It was something I had to adapt to and an adjustment I had to make. As far as your plus one and your children, you need to pencil in, actually in pen, take a pen and put any important dates to them, whether it's soccer games, recitals, um, Boy Scout club meetings, any of that stuff goes in pen in the planner, and you do not change them. You treat them as if they were the most important person in the world, as if they were the commissioner of education and coming in to watch your classroom, because they are. Someday you will leave teaching, hopefully later than sooner, but someday you'll leave teaching, but you'll always have your family. So that's where your priority needs to be, which is put those things in pen. Do not change them. If you have to take a couple days off, be responsible, put good sub plans together, talk to administration, give them the time they need to find a sub, but you attend those events. I've never missed a dance recital. I've never missed a soccer game. I've never missed a choir performance. You attend all of those things because that's what life's all about. One of the things that you should do, as I mentioned earlier, is create something, uh, a debrief after teaching. I've gotten to a point where I can just shut the door and turn teaching off, and then I'll pick it up again at 7:10 the next day. But I wasn't able to do that the first few years. And the recommendation I would make to you is go for a walk, do yoga, find something that you can do to separate your day up to where you have a debrief in there. For me currently, usually when I get home, I either run or go for a walk or work out or something. But I will do something between teaching and between becoming dad and husband. Another piece of advice I'd give you, and this is where I see a lot of beginning teachers really struggle, is the first year, the first 3 years, I was more worried about students liking me than I was about being an effective educator. I believe the two were linked, and they really aren't, which is the students have enough friends. So you need to make sure you have structure and rules in place. If they're too strict, you can always loosen them. But the converse is not true. If you're too loose at the beginning, trying to tighten them, then you become mean or the students don't like you. You're better off starting off strict and loosening than trying to take a group that has not had rules and to apply rules to them. Trust me, at some point in your career, you'll come across that and you realize this is a truism with education. Um, I highly, highly recommend you watch my video about developing healthy teacher-student relationships. I talk in detail about how important it is that you have processes and procedures and protocols in place for the students to follow. And those are the teachers that they respect and like. Having the students disorganized and chaos in your classroom will do nothing for your credibility as far as the students go. Watch that video and it'll share a lot of pro tips for you. Leave work at work and take a few days off to enjoy. A lot of times I will take a day here or a day there and stick it on the end of a weekend and maybe go see leaves change up north. We're in Florida, so we don't get to the fall that you guys get. Or if there's a snowstorm coming in, I might go catch a snowstorm by taking a long weekend. So you got to live life, otherwise it will pass you by. So keep being a hero, keep teaching, but put some of these processes and protocols in place. Previous slide, I talked about how important it is to put in pen, not pencil, but pen, important dates such as dance recitals, Cub Scout meetings, soccer games, all of those things. It's also important you keep your friendship and your relationship with your plus one. So make sure that even if you don't have anything, at least twice a month, pencil in a date where you're going to go out and maintain that friendship. That's part of your support system and very, very important. Same thing with your kids. Pencil in some dates. Put those things in your planner. I learned that a long time ago. Too many teachers early in their careers feel guilty about doing this, about putting their family first and teaching second. Teaching is an incredibly important job. You know I feel that way. But it's also important that you take care of your relationships with your family because that's why we're doing this. That's why we're trying to make the world a better place, is um, to make the world a better place for our families. So make sure you're taking care of things in the household as well. It is imperative that you have a support system, especially if you're a beginning teacher, you need a support system. It may or may not be your spouse. In my case, I'm very blessed that my spouse is part of my support system. And as a matter of fact, I'd say she's the leader of my support system. And my two kids are part of my support system. Both have college degrees and have helped me out occasionally with lesson plans and stuff. When I go for that walk after school as a debrief occasionally, if there's something major facing me in education, I'll bring it up with my wife and bounce ideas off of her because she's part of my support system. But when I'm done with that walk, we're done. I'm not going to bring up education anymore in the evening. At that point, I'm going to become husband and dad. If you don't have a spouse who wants to be involved or part of your support system, then reach out to your PLC, your professional learning community. Reach out to your department. Reach out to veteran teachers. And if you have a mentor teacher who is not providing the support that you feel like you need, reach out to other veteran teachers. Ask around as to who's really talented and then reach out to them. When I was initially began this career, I tried to surround myself with the most talented, the best of the best, and learn everything I could from them. That was my support system. If you want to try to get buy-in from your spouse, they may or may not want to be part of your teaching career, but if they do or are willing to, have them chaperone field trips, have them come in and talk as a guest speaker, have them volunteer uh, to in other ways as well. So there are ways to get buy-in from spouses. And once they come in and meet the kids, then you can talk about specific students over dinner that they get to know. I highly recommend you watch my time management video. Um, Time management, the amount of time that teaching takes from your personal life is a huge stress factor for a lot of teachers. Even veteran teachers, 20 and 30 years into this, get stressed out over the amount of time that teaching can take. Um, there's a lot of tips in that time management video that will help save you a lot of time. Few quick tips. Use your plan time wisely. Don't waste your plan time socializing or walking around. Successful people measure time in minutes. Whenever you have 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, use that time to grade some papers. I have a teacher I work with. When she goes to Disney standing in line, she sits there and grades papers while she's in line. Again, those are hidden minutes that even I didn't think about. You don't have to grade everything. Don't give busy work. If you grade everything and you give busy work, every time you assign busy work, you're creating busy work for yourself. That's a great litmus test as to whether you should assign work to students or not. If it's practice and it's making them better, then it's probably worth assigning to them. But if it's something you're assigning to them just so they have something to do, that's busy work. You can find better uses of your time and their time. There are a bunch of other tips in that time management video. I highly recommend you watch it. Right. If you are a new teacher, I have a video called Teacher Imposter Syndrome, and it's all about coaching and how challenging teaching can be. And it's probably the most important video you can watch. I highly recommend you watch my Teacher Imposter Syndrome video because I think you'll find it will really lift up your spirits and help you keep things in perspective. Again, I'll put a link to that on the end screen. I highly recommend you watch that Teacher Imposter Syndrome video. It's, in my opinion, probably one of the 2 or 3 best videos I've recorded to date. In summary, remember, teaching is a job. Create a routine that allows you to separate teaching from your personal life. Prioritize your family. Build a support system with talented, positive people around you. You need talented, positive people around you. Seek out those teachers that are talented that can make you better. Remember, you're a hero. If you're a teacher, you're a hero, and this is the most complex, challenging job in the world. And it's the most important job in the world. And as a hero, being a hero doesn't come without challenges. So keep being a hero, keep teaching. If you have doubts, watch my video about whether you should become and or remain a classroom teacher. I'll put a end screen to that as well. And again, I highly recommend you watch that Teacher Imposter Syndrome video. Well, thank you for your time. Keep being a hero. And if you have any questions, comments, drop them in the comment section below. And if you've picked up anything useful from this video, please give us a like.